Hello everyone, you're watching Ralph from Ralph's Garden. It's February now, which means I'm preparing my tropical plants for the spring, for the growing season here in Belgium. And therefore I ordered some Mediterranean tropical plant fertilizer. So now I will show you how I'm gonna fertilize some of my tropical fruit plants with these Mediterranean fertilizer pellets. So now we're gonna open this up. The brand is Pocon. I order a lot from Pocon. They have a lot. They have been in business since 1929 and they are a very trustworthy plant products brand. So it's 1 kilogram and it contains a lot of iron and magnesium, which is very crucial for tropical fruit plants like an avocado plant or canary date palms or lychee plants. So first I'm gonna read the instructions and then I'm gonna fertilize my potted tropical plants. So it says that the Pocon Mediterranean plant fertilizer is very good for example, palm trees, olive trees, citrus plants, fig plants. This organic fertilizer is rich in magnesium and iron, which makes the leaves of the plants dark green. It makes sure the plant produces dark green healthy leaves. It can feed your plant up to 120 days, which is a pretty long period. So you won't have to fertilize it as frequently as you would with a liquid fertilizer. But you do have to be very careful when you're fertilizing when it's above 25 degrees Celsius. Because if it's a hot sunny day, the plant might get burned. So it's important that whatever fertilizing you're using, it can be a liquid fertilizer, it can be pellets or like this little, earlier I said pellets, but it's actually not pellets, it's like these little grains. It also has silicium and phosphor, which is also very important. Now, for plants, young plants or plants in pots, they recommend between 20 grams and 25 grams of these fertilizer grains for plants. Now, plants in full ground, but I didn't know if I said before, but most of these plants I'm gonna plant into full ground when it's spring. My canary date palms, my limequat plant, my lime plant, one of my 2 lychee plants just for trying. One I'm gonna keep in a pot and one I'm gonna plant into full ground to see if it might survive the winter. But for plants in full ground, they recommend between 40 and 50 grams of this fertilizer. What we're gonna do is we're gonna give the larger plants, like the avocado plant, which is, I would say 1 meter and 50 centimeters, something like that. My canary date palm is almost taller than me, and I'm 1 meter and 87 centimeters, so it's pretty tall. And then I'm not even talking about the root, I'm only talking about what's above the ground, so the stem and the leaves. So what I'm going to do is my little plants, like my lychee plants, my lime plants, my small mango plant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give the taller tropical plants, like let's say 40 grams per plant. For the little plants, like my mango and lychee and so on, I'm gonna give 15 grams. They recommend 20 grams per plant, but I'm gonna give them between 10 and 15 grams because I don't want to give too much to a very small young plant. So afterwards I will water it thoroughly. It's also very important that you do this. Now let's get started. So the lime plant is the first lucky plant that gets this well-balanced fertilizer. You have to spread it thoroughly. And then I'm gonna cover it with pine bark chips and some of the potting soil. Cover it and water it immediately afterwards. And now I will show you how much I'm gonna water this plant, just to give you an idea of how much you have to water it. I actually ended up putting almost 40 grams of this fertilizer for my larger Canary date palm, which is enough normally. You never want to have too much grains lying on the top layer of the soil. The grains actually shouldn't be visible. Like this should be fine. And now I'm gonna give it like a liter of water, or like up to 2 liters. This is for my avocado plant, which is 1 meter and 40 centimeters tall, so it needs a lot of fertilizer. This will be what I'm gonna give for my passion fruit plants. I gave about, let's say, 5 to 10 grams of this fertilizer per plant, since it's actually not a fruit tree, but it's a vine, as you can see. Now, the reason why I fertilized them, although it's February, that way they have a little boost for when the real growing season starts, which is in 1.5 or 2 months, let's say in April. But that way the roots are prepared, they are stronger, the roots are bigger, and the plant is also producing a bigger and wider trunk. Like for palms, like my Canary date palms, it's very important that the trunk has a certain width, so it's like big enough to plant into full ground. Now I have to wait 120 days until I can fertilize the plants again, because they feed my plants for 120 days. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned how to fertilize your tropical plants.